Lord have mercy, what a show we have on tap for you guys tonight. Gonna start, obviously, with Team USA getting the job done in the round of 32. Yes, there was an egregious red card that we'll get to in just a moment, but discuss how they were able to get the job done, advance to the round of 16 in the World Cup, why this is arguably the biggest win in the history of Team USA men's soccer. Touch on that. Touch on the just stunning Jaylen Bown trade. You mean to tell me he's going to the Sixers and Boston got nothing in return for this guy? Like, what is going on? And the one move I think the Sixers need to make in order to ensure that they are on the New York Knicks level in the Eastern Conference. Going out west now to the Los Angeles Lakers. Some really head-scratching free agent news, to say the very least. Touch on that at the end of today's show. I will make my personal recruiting pitch to one LeBron James to come to the Golden State Warriors, because something tells me I think they're about to make a move to get him in. Touching all of it on Carving Up Live today. So let's drop the V, baby. Here we go. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Carving It Up Live right here on YouTube, Twitch, X, Instagram, Facebook. We're all over the place. Very excited to be here. I'm Bryson Carver, as always, and you know, I was considering doing a show 24 hours ago, doing the show tonight on this Thursday, depending on what happened with Team USA and how that game played out in the round of 32 against Bosnia last night. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But then the Jaylen Bown news drops. It's like, okay, now I don't have a choice. Now I got to do a show. And from start to finish, we're loaded. Potential Golden State Warriors LeBron James updates that we could have throughout today's episode of Carving Up Live, so stay tuned for that. Also, too, I want to say, because I've got a LeBron James recruiting pitch coming up at the end of today's show, so stay tuned for that. This jersey partly has something to do with that, my Steph Curry Team USA jersey from the 2024 Olympics. It's also obviously to represent what Team USA did last night, so it's kind of a double whammy. Bookend the show with something to do with Team USA, so feeling very excited today, feeling very patriotic today. 250 is a couple days away. Very, very exciting stuff. Before, though, we get into any of the topics that we have lined up for today's show, I did want to say, and it's incredible to get to this point, thank you to everybody who has contributed to Carving Up Live, because we have hit 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen. 2,000 subscribers on Carving It Up. Cannot tell you how much we appreciate the love and the support, and everybody taking just, if nothing else, 30 seconds to a minute out of their day to watch one of our short clips, 10, 15 minutes out of the day to watch more of our long form clips. If you take an hour and a half to watch our full shows, oh my gosh, thank you so much for staying interested that long in what we're doing here. Very, very exciting. We're hoping to continue to build from here. 2,000 subscribers, just the tip of the iceberg as far as I'm concerned in terms of what we want to do and how we want to build this show going forward. But cannot thank everybody enough for taking the time out of their day to hit that big red subscribe button. Hey, let's keep the growing. Let's keep the growing going. I did not mean for that to rhyme and get the alliteration going there. But take 2 seconds there today. Hit that big red subscribe button down there. Helps the channel grow exponentially. Also, subscribe to the Grid Network as well. We're live on the Grid on YouTube, on Carving It Up on YouTube. So, again, to anyone who supported, thank you so much. So let's get into last night. But first, man, oh man, oh man. So many takeaways from Team USA getting the job done in the round of 32 last night against Bosnia and Herzegovina. And I think it is, listen, let me say this in the front end. I obviously don't talk a ton of soccer on this show. I also don't talk a ton of golf on this show. But when Rory McIlroy goes back-to-back in the Masters and is joining some pretty elite company of golfers in the history of the sport to do that, I got to lead the show with it. And when Team USA pulls off the greatest win in the history of the United States men's national team, I got to talk about it, especially in the fashion of which it happened. So Team USA, throughout the first 3 games of this tournament in the group stage, of everybody in this entire tournament, they were leading the entire tournament in terms of goals scored quickest. Even the last game against Turkey, what was it? The third minute of the game, bang, 1-0 Team USA, even though they went on to lose 3-2 in the final minute. But they've had a tendency to kind of start off the gate and you could say front running, whatever the case may be. But there are more expectations on this Team USA team than certainly any in my lifetime and probably in the modern World Cup era, so the last almost 30 years. And for the game to play out the way that it did early in San Francisco last night, or really Santa Clara, I guess, it is Team USA got on, I mean, obviously they won 2-0, so of course they got on the board first, but it wasn't until, the 45th minute? And what you saw, we'll get into the egregious red card later in the show. But what you saw is the officials were pretty much content to let the guys play pretty physical soccer. Like that was, they let Bosnia, I feel like, get away with a little bit more contact than they let Team USA get away with. But whatever the case may be, they let both teams play physical, and the game wasn't necessarily going that well for Team USA. Like, Bosnia had, certainly late, but early in that game, had some opportunities to get on the board. Like, they had some good shots on goal, just missed. And so for Team USA to kind of hang in there, it's a much different game than I'm sure they thought it would be. It's really the first time, in my lifetime at least, where, and we'll get into kind of the historical aspect of what that win meant and why it's the greatest win in Team USA history at this point. Hopefully it'll be surpassed next Monday night. We'll see what happens against Belgium. Talk about that in a moment. But it was the first time where it was, oh no, you have to win. No ifs, ands, or buts. This is the first time Team USA has been the round of 32, and it's an abject disaster if you lose this. So there's that pressure. There's the aspect of, this Bosnia team, maybe a little bit better than they thought. Officials letting you get away with physical play and what have you. And it's games like last night. I say it so many times in the NFL, in NBA, not as much in Major League Baseball because now you got the, automated balls and strikes and what have you. But in football and basketball, American football, I should say. Anytime a team loses a close game, there's a controversial call later, what have you. Oh my gosh, the fans, the refs, that's the reason we lost. The refs, had it in the bag for the other team, right? It was rigged, or we got screwed over the officials, and that's why we lost. I have said time and time and time again, and will continue to say on this show, that is loser behavior, and Team USA showed you exactly why that's the case last night. You get as egregious of a red card as you could possibly imagine on really the best player on Team USA, and Folarin Balogun. We can show you the image of that right there on the show. I believe we can. Do we have the red card? I think we do. Potentially. Maybe we do. Maybe we don't. Okay, here it is. This is what they call the red card, right? So he's stepping on the ankle of one of the Bosnian players, right? So right there in freeze frame, that looks bad. Again, we unfortunately don't have the rights to show the footage. If we did, we would. He's stepping on the ankle. It's like, oh gosh, that looks kind of bad. Live watching the game, and sure, you could say maybe the announcers on Fox, yeah, they're maybe biased toward Team USA, but just watching naked eye, oh yeah, that's a foul, but that's not like bad. In worst case scenario, that's a yellow card, but he's not going to get tossed out of the game and then going to be out for Team USA's round of 16 matchup against Belgium. It's like, oh no, yeah, he is. VAR, they go to the replay and they say, yeah, you're out of the game, red card. That'd be like if you're watching an NBA game, a guy commits a foul, and you watch, you're like, yeah, I mean, that's a foul. Maybe a little extra contact, maybe a little of excessive, but like, he's not going to get tossed. And it goes from common foul, Scott Foster or somebody goes to the replay table and they like, after further review, flagrant 2, he's out of the game. It's like, what? Watching live, we thought worst case, that's a flagrant 1. You give him a flagrant 2 and he's gone. That's what happened last night to Balogun. Just egregious stuff. And when you talk about how valuable he is to this Team USA team, I know Christian Pulisic is, in theory, supposed to be the best player, and boy, are there expectations for that kid going into Monday night's round of 16 against Belgium. But Balogun has been our best player, certainly our best striker without question, one of the best strikers in the entire World Cup. We can show you guys with 3 goals, players with 3 goals, when no other teammates have 2. Obviously, Lionel Messi, no shock there. He leads with 6 goals. Erling Haaland, 5. And then you have a tie between Sabari from Morocco and Balogun from the United States with 3 goals. 3 goals when no teammates have 2 or more. 4 players in the entire World Cup in 2026 can say that. Our guy Balogun is one of those guys. So his impact, and you obviously had the goal early. They got reversed due to the offsides. Then he was able to score in the 45th minute, get Team USA on the board. There's a lot of momentum. He was doing the silencer, the LeBron silencer. It was great. That moment right there could have killed Team USA. It's like, oh my God, our best player's gone. Like we're screwed. We're done. 10 players out there, 10 on 11, and you step up and get the job done. And it's capped off by We talk about, we'll get into potentially the greatest win in Team USA history for men's soccer. Arguably the greatest goal in the history of Team USA men's soccer. Malik freaking Tillman. We don't have the rights to show you the footage, but we can show you the audio. Malik Tillman in the 82nd minute on a free kick. Tillman! It's in! Malik Tillman! 2-0 United States! And just goosebumps listening to right now. John Strong, shout out to him, did an unbelievable job on Fox. Stu Holden, the great duo. Unbelievable call by Strong. San Francisco, Levi Stadium is going out of their minds, and Team USA is able to hang on. It ends up going an extra 10 minutes due to, obviously, the injuries and what have you. But watching that game, there was almost an element of, we talk about like underdogs and what have you, and this Team USA team, relative to the rest of the field, is an underdog. But relative to our group that we just won, and certainly relative to playing Bosnia, and to a lesser degree, Belgium on Monday in the round of 16. They're not oh my gosh, this can do, they shocked the world. And no, people kind of expected the way that the bracket, played itself out. People kind of expected Team USA to get to the round of 16. And yet, and still, even despite that, this is as likable and easy to root for. And again, of course, there's the element of Team USA and loyalty to country and what have you. But there is a likability factor about this group that is unbelievable. Again, just play out there with 10 guys, and even our manager Mauricio Pochettino with the great quotes Jenny Taft after the game was over. Here's Mauricio.
This guy are creating a legacy in this country, and with that amazing fans, everything is possible.
Thank you so much.
Why not us? Why not us?
Why not us?
Why not us?
Why not us? And then he's this guy from Argentina who's coaching Team USA is with his players on the field with the tens of thousands at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, California, singing Take Me Home Country Roads by John Denver at the top of their lungs. Like it was, and credit to Fox, by the way, because they went to the post-game show, but then you could faintly hear, they still had the audio in the stadium. You could hear them starting to play Take Me Home Country Roads, which is like the victory song for Team USA this year. And kudos to the folks in the studio for like, hey, don't say anything. Let's let the moment play itself out. It was absolutely incredible from start to finish. And the last thing I'll say about the red card is on Balogun. It's not only egregious because it obviously was not a red card. I mean, I saw a tweet from Dirk Nowitzki, like NBA legend, right, from Germany. Dirk Nowitzki didn't have a dog in the fight. Like he played professional basketball in the United States, but he's loyal to Germany in any World Cup type of situation. And even Dirk Nowitzki's like, that is not a red card. Like, what is, like, the internet exploded when that happened, as it should have. It was ridiculous. Worst case should have been a yellow card. Is not just that Team USA can't appeal, like that you cannot appeal a red card, which is, I mean, you can do that in it's just speaking of American sports. If there's a suspension type situation, if like there's like a technical foul, if you reach your 16th technical in the NBA and get suspended, you can appeal that last tee. I think Luka Doncic actually did that last year for the Lakers where he got his 16th technical and then they went back like, oh, that wasn't a tee. Like, that shouldn't have been. Or yeah, and then they reversed the suspension. The fact that Team USA or any team in this tournament can't do that is utterly absurd. Not only that, but also, and I have often on this show not been against, you could say it's unfair or what have you. I get it. I understand. I have never had a problem with stars getting preferential treatment when it comes to officiating call. I don't. Like, I never have. As much as the star can be the center of the story, got no problem with that, unless it's just completely egregious. But we'll show you the red card again on Balogun, right? Again, freeze frame, it looks worse than it actually was live. When you watch live, he clearly was not trying to go into the guy's ankle. Like, he wasn't. He gets a red card, gets tossed, and he's unavailable for round of 16. But listen, he's probably the greatest soccer player of all time, and respect to him. But the first game of Argentina's group stage, Lionel Messi against Algeria, same exact play, doesn't even get a yellow card. But our guy gets suspended, gets basically tossed from this game, and then he's unavailable for round of 16. Absurd in every way, shape, and form. But I'll say this. There's a lot of, I think, cautious optimism for Team USA against Belgium. I forget who it was. I saw one former Team USA player say, like, I'm like 65% confident that we'll beat Belgium in the round of 16 and get to the quarterfinal. And I get that. There's sort of this, like, is it too good to be true? Because Belgium's a good team. They made an absurd comeback down 2-0 to win early in the day before Team USA played Bosnia. But I think the combination of factors. Number one, these dudes are pissed at their teammate getting suspended for round of 16. Probably their best player, arguably. I think this is going to be Christian. It needs to be Christian Pulisic's kind of crowning moment thus far in his career for Team USA. So there's the playing for their teammate. There's the aspect of I don't think it sounds silly, but America's will be coming off its 250th birthday and kind of the high off that, and Team USA's crushing it in the World Cup. There'll be that momentum. The game is going to be in Seattle. And if we know anything about watching the Seahawks play there at Lumen Field, and we know anything about how much that city loves its soccer, that building will be a madhouse on Monday night in the round of 16. Crazy town. You have that component onto it. You have the momentum of winning this game when I don't want to say you shouldn't have, but winning the game in the fashion. It's not like you lost your guy a Balogun and then just held on for dear life 1-0. It's that, no, you tighten up on defense. Listen, Bosnia had some opportunities at the end to make it interesting. Team USA did their job defensively. And then obviously the moment of Team USA's run thus far in the World Cup with Malik Tillman hitting the free kick, just as beautiful a strike as you can possibly imagine. All of those factors, and the fact also, revenge opportunity. They actually lost a friendly to Belgium earlier this year, so there's a little bit of a get-back syndrome going on there. Also, the fact that Team USA had already clinched a spot in the round of 32 after their first two group stage games. And in the third game, again, they obviously lost to Turkey, and it was tough, lost in the final minute. But a lot of the reserves got some really valuable experience in playing time. They're going to need those guys against Belgium. So everything points to a Team USA victory. I'll say it's something like 2-1. I'll say a 2-1 Team USA gets the job done, advances the quarterfinal. And the last point I'll make before we move on to the Jaylen Brown trade is when you look at where this team or where this country has been in men's soccer, it's not been all that great. Like, this is why I say it's to this point the biggest win in men's soccer history in the United States. This is how every World Cup has ended for Team USA from 1930 to now. So 1930, they came in third place, but that was a much, much smaller field. 1934, round of 16. 1938, withdrew. World Cup continued in 1950, group stage. And then from there, from 1954 to 1986, so for a 32-year stretch, couldn't even make the World Cup, failed to qualify. 1990, group stage. 94, round of 16. 98, group stage. 2002, made the quarterfinals. 06, group stage. 2010, 2014, round of 16. Didn't make it in devastating fashion in 2018. And the last World Cup, 2022, round of 16. And a lot of the cases, we talk about like 2010, 2014, 2022, like it was that team went about as far as it should have, and they probably shouldn't have even gotten to the round of 16 to begin with. This squad doesn't have the aura or the feel of like a favorite of like a France or an Argentina or a Brazil or something like that. But they are expected to get to the quarterfinal the way that the bracket is broken. And so I'm excited. That was an unbelievable night for soccer and unbelievable night for this country. That was insanity. I mean, I was in my house just singing "Take Me On Country Roads" at the top of my lungs. It was absolutely awesome. Let's shift to the NBA. I really thought the Jaylen Brown trade was going to be what would be like the biggest, not story necessarily because it's the World Cup, obviously we're talking about, but I thought the Jaylen Brown trade would kind of be the first like shocker, big reaction that we get on Carving Up today, but that was not the case. So it's funny. We have been talking about, everyone's been discussing potential Jaylen Brown trade opportunities for the Celtics. I think as time went on, it became pretty obvious. Depending on how long this trade took to materialize, he wasn't going to be a Celtic on opening night. Like, he just wasn't. There was too much smoke. There was the fact that, again, he goes on the live stream after you blow a 3-1 lead to the Sixers, more in Philly, obviously, in just a second. And you say, hey, favorite season of my career. Because, hey, we won 56 games. I was a legit MVP candidate, came in 6th place in voting. And it was the first time until Tatum came back in March that I was the guy on one team, and we had a lot of success in the regular season. All of that smoke, Jaylen Brown was going to get traded. Where he got traded, I don't think I'm overreacting by saying it's as shocking an outcome as we could have possibly imagined. The Boston Celtics, forget they're longtime rivals of the Sixers. Forget that they're in the same division. Divisions, unfortunately, the NBA really don't matter anymore with the Sixers. But I've talked about the Eastern Conference since the Knicks won the title. It's been an arms race. Miami gets Giannis. Toronto gets Kawhi. Right? Let's see what Boston does. And you aid the opposition. You give the Philadelphia 76ers, who are going to be one of the roadblocks to you getting to your goal. They were the team that denied you of your goal a year ago in devastating fashion, down 3 or up 3-1. You blow it, lose a game 7 on your home floor, and you give them your, by a hair, second best player. And in the return, we can show you the Jaylen Brown trade because there's a lot to dissect. Here's the trade. Sixers get Jaylen Brown. Celtics, this is all they get. Paul George at age 36 going into year 17. You get a 2028 first, a 2031 first, and then a 2028 and 2030 second round pick. That's it. We're going to talk about the Lakers later. This was what the Lakers got, or I should say the Jazz got, for Walker Kessler. So the Lakers got Walker Kessler. Jazz get 2 first rounders and 2 pick swaps. So you mean to tell me that Jaylen Brown is at best on par, if at worst less than, less valuable in a trade than Walker Kessler's a good player. Don't get me wrong. I think the Lakers got better by adding him. Jaylen Brown was All-NBA last year, almost first-team All-NBA, had Cade Cunningham not met the eligibility requirements, was 6th for MVP, averaged 29 a game, led the Celtics to 56 wins. And that's all you get for him? And we'll talk about potential deals that Boston missed out on. But it's an element of, we've talked about the Celtics on this show being over-reliant on the three-pointer. Like that's been the case. I mean, they were, we did a graphic, probably should have put it up for the show today, but we did a graphic when they were in the midst of their collapse against Philly, where how the percentage Boston shot from 3 directly affected the outcome of whether they won or lost. Like literally, it was a direct tie-in. And Boston's been over-reliant on the 3 for years. To their credit, 2024, they won the championship in large part because they just had the best roster in basketball that year. To their credit, got the job done, won the title. But 2023, over-reliant on the 3. Same in 25, got him beat against the Knicks in round 2. 2026, got him beat in round 1, choked a 3-1 lead to the Sixers. And Embiid wasn't even there for the entire series, by the way. But when you heard the reports in the days building up to this, Bobby Marks at ESPN says somebody in the league told him, if Jaylen Brown was on our team, we think he'd be the 7th best player. Jaylen Brown wouldn't be the 7th best player on the 2017 Golden State Warriors, the greatest basketball team ever assembled in NBA history. But the analytics show, Boston's model show, he's good. But according to Brian Windhorst, he was told by that the Celtics thought, Derek White had a better year than Jaylen Brown. Well, let's tail the tape. Let's look at those numbers because, it wasn't close. Yeah, Jaylen Brown averaged 28 a game. Derek White averaged 16. Jaylen Brown averaged 28 a game on 47% shooting. Derek White averaged 16 on 39% shooting. Jaylen Brown shot better from 3, got more rebounds. Derek White barely had more assists as a point guard. And through free throw percentage, Derek White wins easily. But I like Derek White, by the way. Y'all know that if I watch the show. I love Derek White. He is not as good as Jaylen Brown objectively. But the models show in Boston, Derek White's irreplaceable. According to reports, part of the reason that the trade with Milwaukee didn't go through for Giannis was because, and I can't believe these words are about to come out of my mouth, they viewed, obviously Jason Tatum as untouchable. They viewed Hugo Gonzalez and Baylor Shireman as untouchable in a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo, but Jaylen Brown was expendable. Now, those guys, Hugo Gonzalez, Baylor Sharman, Sharman had a decent year for Boston last year. Like, there's hope there. There's the belief that they can get better. They're still young guys. Like, they can get better over time. But Jaylen Brown, you could not wait to get out of the building. Well, Bryson, the reports came out. I think Colin Cowherd said that sources told him, that one source described Jaylen Brown's presence in the locker room or seeing himself as the smartest guy in the room as a disease, which I thought that's a bit far. But let's say that's true. That Jaylen Brown, bad locker room guy, kind of sucks the air out of the locker room. Let's say that's true. I think Jaylen Brown, outside looking in, seems to be a highly intelligent dude. I think the Twitch streams have done more harm than good for his reputation, for the Celtics as a whole, and what have you. Going back and forth in a beef with Stephen A. Smith, it's like, dude, that's what Stephen A. Smith wants you to do. Don't mess with that. It's not worth your time. Hasn't helped. Let's say all that's true. You couldn't have got a better package than that? Now, Boston might very well. It's completely on the board that, because I saw something where the way that the situation their salary cap is in, the fact they got these 2 first-round picks opens up a potential trade for like a Trey Murphy from the New Orleans Pelicans, who's on the trade block right now in New Orleans. Okay, and I really like Trey Murphy. I'm actually going to talk about him later in the show. But Bill Simmons comes out. Bill Simmons, we know a lot of ties to the Celtics organization. This is what he said. Giannis Antetokounmpo was ready to sign off to a trade to Boston. But the Celtics refused to give him a 3-year max extension that he wanted and were only willing to offer 2 years. We can debate whether that would have been a good idea to give Giannis a 3-year extension. I'm frankly on the fence about it. He's getting up there in age. This is year 14 for Giannis coming up. Has injuries. But the alternative is not to get a 36-year-old broken down going into year 17 Paul George well past his prime and 2 first-round picks. From a Philly team that now you look at them, it's, okay, Jaylen Brown, VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, and whatever you get from Embiid. Yeah, those won't be high picks like that. Those will be basically as good as a high second-rounder. Now, I imagine Boston isn't going to use those picks. Again, they're probably going to try and parlay that into a trade. But this is... I'm more shocked when I woke up this morning and, again, just sort of my brain recalibrated. Yeah, Jaylen Brown got traded to the Philadelphia 76ers. I was more shocked 12 hours after the trade than when it happened. Like, just, I don't even know how to fathom what Boston just did. I'm sure Brad Stevens has a plan. Hope for his sake and for Celtics fans' sake that it works. But this is egregious. If nothing else, forget the package. Let's say the package is perfect. Why are you trading him to Philly? Like that, you just made your rival way better. And now the Sixers, by the way, just added Anthony Simons, who I really wanted the Warriors to sign, by the way. Now they just added Anthony Simons, 15-point per game guy, good shooter. It's like, holy crap. Philadelphia, who we'll talk about in just a moment, they're on par with the Knicks potentially. And you are a team that has, at best, a second-round ceiling. Knicks are way better than you. Philly's way better than you. Toronto, I think, is better than you at this point. Cleveland, as the roster currently stands, forget if they get LeBron James, are better than you. Detroit, let's see what they do. They were the 1 seed last year. I cannot fathom what the Boston Celtics just did. I'm not even a Celtics fan. I have a dog in the fight, but that is unacceptable. And it's the fact that if there's locker room problems, okay. But when you heard the tea leaves, or read the tea leaves in Boston, you heard the rumblings, analytically, he's not that valuable to... I've always said this about analytics on this show. Anybody who says you shouldn't use analytics, they're dumb. Like that's code for dumb guy. Like if the idea that you should reject any sort of data and information that comes your way because I'm not gonna, it's dumb. They cannot make every single decision for you though. They can't. I've talked about this more in baseball than any other sport. I think the Yankees have gotten into trouble with this. Launch angle, home run is more valuable than Yeah, and the Yankees have won a title in 17 years. Boston, to their credit, won 2 years ago. But they won 2 years ago because they had an elite duo, Tatum and Brown. They had a great two-way guard in Drew Holiday, another great two-way guard in Derek White, and they had Porzingis, and they had Al Horford, and they had Peyton Pritchard. They had an excellent roster. If the plan is Jason Tatum and old Paul George and shooters, because we're just going to outgun you from three, how'd that work for you the last two postseasons when your roster was better than it is now? I cannot believe Boston did this. For Philadelphia, though, so obviously now they're clearly a contender in the East. Like, that goes without saying. But I still don't necessarily view them as peers with the New York Knicks. You're like, Bryson, wait a minute. You've got a starting lineup as sits here today. I guess insert point. Maxey is your de facto point. He's a two guard. Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, who was third. Edgecombe got outshone by Cooper Flagg and by Con Knipple last year because both were unbelievable rookies. VJ Edgecombe was a phenomenal rookie. He had a big game 5 against Boston. He's got a very bright future. VJ Edgecombe, Joel Embiid, and now Jaylen Brown. And so, as great as that big four is, I still think, and they added Anthony Simons, which was a great signing. I really wanted the Warriors to sign Anthony Simons. The problem with Philadelphia, and I said this when they beat Boston. Go back and look. I said this right after they beat the Celtics. It's not just the fact that Embiid is consistently injured. That's not all of it. It's the fact that they have to play so differently when he's on the floor. Now, Joel Embiid's on the court for you. Yeah, of course you're a better basketball team. I've gotten an Embiid for being the only MVP to never go to a conference finals. He's a great player. He's not as good as he was due to the injuries, which is really unfortunate, but he's still great. He's still an excellent player. But because Embiid, year after year, he's always, I think even last year, led the league in usage rate. It's jab step, dribble, not a lot of ball movement. Defense gets to relax. Edgecombe's not involved. Max is not involved. Now Jaylen Brown, who's an on-ball guy, can play off ball, but is an on-ball, scorer, slasher, won't get up as many opportunities in theory. Whereas when Embiid is out due to injury, they play completely differently. That inconsistency on style of play, I think, is going to have to warrant Philadelphia trading Joel Embiid. He's got 3 years, about $162 million left on his contract. That is not a great contract for a lot of teams. I get that. But if you can find somebody to take that, if nothing else, forget, this isn't, apples to apples with the Jaylen Brown trade where Boston's return mattered a ton. Philadelphia's return doesn't matter that much. Only in the sense of, you want to get it's Joel Embiid. You'll get something back for him. But a big three, Maxey, Jaylen Brown, VJ Edgecombe, as he continues to get better, that can win the East. I have some concerns about Nick Nurse, but that trio right there, add Anthony Simons to the mix, they can win the Eastern Conference. But if there's the back and forth, playing one way with Embiid, playing a different way without him, like, why do you think Golden State was obviously unstoppable when they had KD, but still great? Like, they had like a better record without KD than with him when he was there. Now, obviously, KD made him better, but the way KD played basketball and the way the Warriors ran their offense, they didn't have to change anything. It was the same thing. It was, KD's a way better Harrison Barnes, but it was the same offense. It's not the case with Joel Embiid in Philadelphia. And I said this well before I thought Jaylen Brown trade was even on the board. Maxey and Edgecombe, that's your franchise. That's who you're building around. Consistently available, good in the playoffs. Edgecombe one year in the postseason, but really impressed me against Boston, and you build around them. Well, now you just got another star to superstar caliber guy in Jaylen Brown. That's not enough mouths to feed offensively, especially when one of those mouths in and out of the lineup. So I think if they want to beat the New York Knicks in a playoff series, if they want to do what they have not done since 2001 and haven't done, which is win the Eastern Conference, and do what they haven't done since 1983 and win the whole darn thing, they have to move Joel Embiid. Because as it currently sits here today, they'll be excellent. Don't get me wrong. They'll be excellent in the Eastern Conference. They will not win the title. They will not win the East. Might get to the conference finals. They will not win the Eastern Conference as currently constructed. And so Philly fans should be over the moon right now. That's the last move they need to make. I've heard folks suggest, we'll talk about LeBron later. Oh, if you add LeBron James, well, then that's another guy on ball. So Bron's on ball, so is Jaylen Brown. Joel Embiid is very heliocentric in the offense. Edgecombe would like some touches. Like, it just doesn't work. It could potentially work. I'm still skeptical if you brought LeBron in, if Embiid's gone. Now, who will be takers on his contract? Hard telling. But I think it's doable. Let's see. Do we have some comment? I guess we don't have comments. Okay, so I'm getting some notifications on my phone. Is there any news that just broke? Okay. Good for him. Good for him. This involves the Golden State Warriors, but indirectly. Pat Spencer for the Golden State Warriors has agreed to a 2-way NBA contract with the Phoenix Suns. Good for him. It's funny. Can we pull up a picture? I guess we could. Can we pull up a picture of Pat Spencer? Because people have said multiple times that, like, if Pat Spencer's ever gotten in the game, people have texted me like, oh, I didn't know you played for the Warriors, because people think he really looks like, or I look like Pat Spencer. So let me get that in there. Just say, again, this news just broke. It's not that major. Obviously, Pat Spencer's a nice player, averaged about 7 points a game last year, got a ton of opportunities because of the season from hell in Golden State due to the injuries. But let's get the Pat Spencer image on Carving It Up Live right now, because I have to say the resemblance is uncanny. Do we have it? Pat Spencer? Okay, here it is. Yeah, listen, I got to watch Pat Spencer be like, you know what? That's what I look like if I play for the Warriors. So there you go. So no, in all seriousness though, congrats, Sammy. He's going to Phoenix, 2-way deal. Hopefully he gets an opportunity there and continues to get better. This guy, by the way, played lacrosse in college, and he's freaking playing professional basketball in the NBA. So kudos to him. And then also some free agent news. Tyus Jones has agreed to a 1-year deal to return to the Denver Nuggets. Jones played, according to Shams, Jones played a reserve role after joining Denver on the buyout market last season and enters his 12th NBA season as his agent Kevin Bradbury of Lift Sports Management completes an agreement with Nuggets officials. So there you go. All right. So yeah, a couple of reserve guards getting some contracts in the NBA. When we come back, though, I tell you what, it's what a crazy day in sports yesterday. But when we come back, we got to talk Lakers, because they have had an off season where, once again, you're like, oh my God, Rob Pelinka is going to waste Luka Doncic for a 3rd straight year. Like, he's really going to do it. We'll talk about the Lakers, and I will make my official recruiting pitch to the greatest basketball player ever, LeBron James, to come to the Golden State Warriors. All that coming up in just 1 minute on Carving Up Live. Stay tuned. Here we go. Welcome back to Carving Up Live. Appreciate everybody for stopping by on this special Thursday show. A couple of orders of business before we get to, I guess a few orders of business before we get to the Lakers free agent signings. So, number one, again, as I said at the top of the show, cannot thank everybody enough for helping us get to 2,000 subscribers last night. If you have not subscribed to Carving It Up, please take 2 seconds every day. Hit that big red subscribe button right down there. Just take a couple seconds. Turn on the notification bell. Get notified anytime we put out new videos, new shorts, anytime we're going live, which, again, the live schedule's been understandably kind of inconsistent based on the final schedule and then free agency. And it's been a crazy time in the NBA, to say the very, very least. And then you've got the World Cup has been unbelievable. So Again, we'll keep you in the loop as much as possible on Instagram. My Instagram handle is right down there at Carving Up Podcast, Carving Up Pod on Twitch, on, I wanted to say Twitter, on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, and then Carving Up Podcast as well on TikTok. I'll keep you guys updated in terms of what our schedule will be for our, for when we're going live on the show. This is almost certainly, barring any LeBron news, our last live show this week. Probably be back on Monday with some LeBron reaction. We'll see. But we'll get to LeBron James later in the show. Also, as well, be sure to check out our Carving It Up merchandise. Scan the QR code, top left corner of your screen. It'll take you to the website. We got hats. We got T-shirts. Good time to get a T-shirt right now because, man, it is hot as you know what out there right now in this country, all around the world. So everybody stay hydrated. Stay as cool as you possibly can because it is freaking steaming outside. So check out our Carving Up merch. Rep it for this 4th of July weekend. Really appreciate if you did that. Also check out our merch for other amazing Grid Network content creators. Barry Grant Jr., who we had on Tuesday. Great stuff as always. From the All Even Podcast. Alpha Parsar Jr. from the Metropolitan Report. AJ Anth and Adam from the Cowboys Camp Fan. Check out their merch as well. I'm sure they got some good stuff brewing for training camp coming up in 4 weeks or so. I mean, it's NFL training camp is, coming down the pike. So it should be very, very fun to see what the Camp Fan guys have in store. And speaking of World Cup, I know they're pulling hard for the Canadians, but I believe Canada plays. Do they play France? I feel like they play France. Am I crazy? Where does my bad. Morocco. That's on Saturday at 1:00, 4th of July at 1:00. France is playing Paraguay. That's what I was getting. I don't know why I got Canada and Paraguay mixed up. France will obviously win that. Shout out to my former Spanish teacher, by the way. She's from Paraguay, obviously a diehard fan. She was texting me after the game like, this is unbelievable when they upset Germany. So that was great. Unfortunately, France is a freaking just buzzsaw. They got Mbappe, probably the best soccer player in the world right now. So they're probably going down in the round of 16 on Saturday. Canada, Morocco. I think I'll go Morocco. I'll go Morocco to win this game. They are favored to do it, so I'll go with Morocco to advance to the quarterfinal. Also, what's the last thing I wanted to say? I'm actually forgetting what I was going to say right now. Yep, I think we covered all the bases on the show. Let's move to the Los Angeles Lakers because, man, they have had a really interesting offseason. The last few years in the offseason in particular, because the Luka trade happened mid-season 2 years ago. When you look at the Los Angeles Lakers under Rob Pelinka, it tends to be like post-Westbrook trade. I think that move kind of paralyzed the front office about making big-time swings in the offseason. Like, oh, God, LeBron told us to trade for Westbrook. We did, and it was a disaster. We're not trading for any big stars ever again in the offseason. It's like, well, they traded for Luka. Again, I always say about Rob Pelinka. Rob Pelinka deserves credit for picking up the phone and saying hello to Nico Harrison and then saying, yes, we'll take Luka Doncic and not have to give up a single draft pick. Yes, absolutely. But the last few years, it's been a pretty dormant offseason for LA. Well, this year, not the case. It obviously starts with LeBron James telling the team that he's going to pursue an opportunity elsewhere to, in all likelihood, to finish his career. And so that's on the books. Obviously, before that, they signed Austin Reeves to the max. And since Braun announced, I'm not coming back to the Lakers, they made a number of signings. They brought in Colin Sexton, which I thought was a nice move. They obviously made the sign-in trade with Walker Kessler, signed him to a 3-year extension. Brought in Mamu, the big guy from Toronto. Nice move. Quentin Grimes. I've always liked Quentin Grimes. But they've also lost Marcus Smart, Luke Kennard. Both were instrumental in them beating the Rockets in the first round. I would be at this point pretty surprised if they don't lose Rui Hachimura. And so now you look at the Lakers today, it's like, okay, Colin Sexton, Reeves, Luka, DeAndre Ayton's back. Okay. Sandro, and then you got Walker Kessler's good. It feels like at this point the Lakers they won, like it's kind of remarkable they won 53 games last year. I feel like their best case scenario is the 6th seed and getting bounced in round 1, be it against the Spurs. I don't think the Spurs will be the 3 seed next year, but throw out teams. Spurs, OKC, Denver, throw out your Western Conference contender. It feels like yet another offseason, if you're a Lakers fan, of oh my gosh, we got the big fish no one ever expected we get in Luka Doncic for nothing, by the way. It's not like you gave up your draft capital and it's like, oh, you're kind of strapped there. No, you didn't. You gave up Anthony Davis, Max Christie, and none. This is now a mid-tier Western Conference roster for the third year in a row. And at least the last 2 years, you had LeBron. So when all has failed, if Luka was out or if Luka was maybe having an off game, you rely on LeBron James to do what he needed to do. Whether it's get other guys involved, whether it's pick up the scoring. Look, LeBron was going to do whatever he needed to do. Still an elite player, still an all-star caliber guy. Well, now that's out the window. And if Luka, who the last 2 years has dealt with injuries, who's not a good defensive player, he's an all-time great offensive scorer, one of the worst defenders in all of basketball. Austin Reeves is exactly, Gary Payton in his own right on that end. Austin Reeves has shown an ability the last 2 years of the postseason to kind of disappear when he's called upon, when he's relied upon. I mean, this year he was the number 2 option to LeBron. Not great. The end of that Houston series and then the whole second round against OKC was not good. Wasn't good last year against the Timberwolves in the first round. Really struggled down the stretch of those close games against Minnesota. And your solution to LeBron leaving is getting some... Walker Kessler's a pretty solid big, but it's bringing some nice ancillary pieces. Like, basically, we're doing the same thing the Celtics are doing, except Austin Reeves, Paul George, just, decide amongst yourselves who's better. Austin Reeves is probably better today than Paul George, but it's not by much. So you look at the LA Lakers today, and it's they're fine. They're good. They're all right. I feel like they're the 6th seed. There's been some speculation that this is a long play and basically kind of a gamble by the front office to say, we believe that Nikola Jokic, with 1 year left in his contract, is not going to sign a max extension, and so we'll sign him next year in free agency. Okay, that is a... And we don't even know if that's what the Lakers doing. The moves that they made this year, again, there's an element of Ayton can leave after next year, as far as I'm concerned. But Walker Kessler's already there, and it's like you're gonna play Kessler and Jokic again. This is a year down the road. Like, it so often with this organization, it feels as if they're operating without a real clear plan. I mean, like, that's what it feels like. I mean, as Barry Grant Jr. told us on Tuesday's show at the 11th hour. Pelinka calls LeBron. Hey, Bron. Not long before he and Rich Paul made it clear to the Lakers that he wasn't coming back. Just last second is what Barry and other sources around the Lakers have reported. So I know folks are talking about, new ownership coming in, Dodgers ownership, they'll fix things up. Maybe. But Pelinka's still there as the GM, and that's, you can always fire Pelinka, but I don't know. I don't feel like the Lakers have a sense of direction whatsoever. And it's really rough when it's 3 straight years of having a top 5 player in the world in Luka Doncic, and you're not going anywhere in the postseason. You got gentlemen swept last year by the T-Wolves. Luka, unfortunately, due to the hamstring, wasn't available this year in the playoffs. Not like you would have beaten OKC with him. And then this year, it's like, yeah, you'll probably get gentlemen swept in round 1 again as the 6th seed. San Antonio, OKC, Denver, probably clip you in round 1, and we'll be back to square one. So that's where we're at with the Lakers. It's not good. LeBron James has covered for we talked about this on Tuesday as well, Barry and I. LeBron has covered for so many of the warts in Los Angeles, not to the degree that he did, not really in Miami, but really the last year in Miami because the roster was aging and injured. But for most of his time in both Cincy and Cleveland, with the exception of 2016 and 2017, when they had a legit shot to win the title. In 2015, obviously, injuries killed him. But he is the great sort of, he's called the Swiss Army knife and what have you, but he's so great at masking the deficiencies, not just of a roster, but of an organization. I mean, again, man, 5 years before Braun got there, the Lakers missed the playoffs all 5 years. They had the worst record in basketball in the stretch prior to LeBron joining LA. By year 2, you're a champion. Prior to that, you get Anthony Davis, who you would not have gotten without LeBron James and the clutch sports tie. And you don't get Luka without trading Anthony Davis. So AD was there because of LeBron. Because of that, you got Luka. And now Bron's gone. Now what? Like, Luka's going to give you his 30, 33 points a night. He's going to be spectacular. He's going to be a fringe MVP candidate. Maybe he'll win an MVP next year or the next few seasons. but you're 10 miles away from title contention. Like you're not close. Sure, you put the Lakers in the East right now, they're not a contender, much less in the West. So as the NBA gets more athletic, younger, better shooting, the Lakers go in the exact opposite direction. I don't get it. But then again, I don't get most of the moves Rob Pelinka makes. Last segment before we get out of here, because I must admit, as a Warriors fan, I am getting more and more anxious by the day. An update on Golden State's pursuit of LeBron, and then we'll get to my personal recruiting pitch to one LeBron Ramon James. I think that's the first time I've called him his government name on the show. LeBron Ramon James. So Anthony Slater of ESPN, very close to Golden State, covers the Warriors. He came out today on, I believe it was NBA Today on ESPN, and said, hey, Golden State doesn't necessarily see them as like the leaders in the clubhouse to get LeBron. Like they know they're in the mix. Rich Paul came out and said it's probably about 5 to 6 teams. The Warriors are in the mix for LeBron. Anthony Slater said they don't have necessarily a feeling that they are the front runners to get him. He also added, Golden State is comfortable potentially basically running back the same roster from last year. Because Warriors have brought back guys, DeAnthony Melton, Kristaps Porzingis, Al Horford. They haven't signed anybody who wasn't on the Warriors last season. Because in some part, it's an all-out pursuit of LeBron. Like I would have really liked to have Anthony Simons in Golden State. He goes to Philadelphia. A lot of Warriors fans panicked, and maybe for good reason. We'll see. A lot of Golden State fans panicked when they saw Anthony Slater report that they are content to go into next season with the same rosters they did a year ago. I think it's a play at a bigger acquisition for Golden State. Because it's also been reported by Slater, by Shams, by others, Brett Siegel of Clutch Points, that the Warriors and that other teams, their off-season moves, yes, it's to make them better, but simultaneously, it's to try and lure LeBron in, because we know Windhorse has reported, Shams reported, LeBron's decision will not be financial. Like he will take, I think they said $3.9 million. Like he'll take the vet men if he thinks he can win a championship. This is not a money decision. This is a happiness decision. This is a basketball fit decision. This is a decision primarily, I want to win a championship before I get out of here. I want to get my 5th and who knows, maybe my 6th ring if I play 2 years. Golden State obviously knows that. And I have to imagine they know, yeah, even if we add LeBron, like, we'll be good. Assuming Jimmy Butler comes back and is 80% of his former self, it's like, yeah, Steph, Bron, Draymond, Jimmy Butler, Porzingis, good bench, Yaxel Linneborg. It's a good team. It's a really good Western Conference team. They're not beating OKC or San Antonio in a 7-game series without another piece. Unless Yaxel Linneborg just shocks everybody. I think Golden State's inactivity, or in some ways their activity, Draymond Green opts out of last year's contract. That was a big story a few days ago. But also something too. We reacted to Kristaps Porzingis signing the 2-year, $40 million deal live on the show on Monday. And I said, okay, what does that mean for the LeBron-Anthony Davis situation? Golden State did something very, very interesting. Because this contract is worded as an extension and not a new contract in and of itself, Golden State can now trade Porzingis this offseason, which if this were just a straight-up, brand-new 2-year, $40 million deal, they couldn't do. Because it's an extension, they can trade Porzingis. That was very, very intentional by the Golden State Warriors. DeAnthony Melton took less from Golden State than he probably would have gotten elsewhere. Like, I thought Melton was gone. Warriors kind of got a discount on him. So Draymond opting out. Porzingis has a tradable contract. Jimmy Butler. Is it on the board that one of these two options are available? Anthony Davis, it still could happen. Again, the Wizards haven't extended him yet, so who knows? They obviously haven't been blown away by Golden State's offer. He would have been traded there already. Is it possible that it's Herb Jones? Herb Jones. I keep saying Herb Jones. Trey Murphy of the New Orleans Pelicans, that the Warriors make a play for him. Okay, Trey Murphy is a guy who's an excellent three-point shooter. He's a perfect fit in Golden State. Three-point shooter, excellent defender, can give you 20 a night. So it's 20-point scorer, and Steph, and Draymond, and a healthy Jimmy Butler by midseason, and Porzingis, and Horford, and Yaxel Pajemski. And you add LeBron? Yeah, that's a championship contender. Or is it possible? Is it on the board? I'm not so sure how I'd feel about this, but if it means you get LeBron, then I can't get mad at it. And then I'll get to my recruiting pitch for LeBron. Nick Wright suggested this earlier, but I was thinking it before he even said it on First Things First. I talked about earlier how I think Philadelphia needs to move Embiid. It will be difficult, but I think they should. How about Jimmy Butler and some draft picks for Joel Embiid? Butler comes back to Philadelphia, which the Sixers regret to this day not bringing him back. There's the famous Tobias Harris over me. Obviously, that was a mistake back in the 2019 offseason, letting him go to Miami. Bring Jimmy Butler back to Philly. He's healthy by midseason, so now it's Butler, Edgecombe, Maxey, and Jaylen Brown. They can win the title, and you get draft picks, and you don't have to change how you play because you move Embiid. Like, obviously, Jimmy Butler's not as good as Joel Embiid, but it's all about fit. Would a Joel Embiid trade be enough to entice LeBron to come to the Warriors? You probably potentially have to move Porzingis as well in that deal, I'd imagine. Possibly. If you had to beat Porzingis and Horford, holy crap, that's incredible depth at big. But that sort of leads me into my recruiting pitch for LeBron James to come to the Golden State Warriors. So this is, I'm going to lean up here just a little bit. Hey, Bron, it's me and you, buddy. Matter of fact, to try and emphasize how much I want you to come to the Golden State Warriors, I wore the jersey of your best friend on Team USA, your good friend Steph Curry, who you had a blast playing with. In fact, I saw on your YouTube channel, the Mind the Game podcast with Steve Nash, you host. You do a great job with that, by the way. Out of the blue, from an interview that you did with Steph Curry in November, or at least it was uploaded in November, out of the blue, Monday, Mind the Game uploads a new clip from an old interview with LeBron and Steph talking about their Olympic experience playing together and how fun it was. It's like, what does that mean? That just came out of nowhere. Wasn't from a new Steph Curry interview. It was from a 7-month-old Steph Curry interview from November. Posted it out of the blue. Here's what I'll say, LeBron. There to me, and now with Philadelphia getting Jaylen Brown, and the fact that you and Rich Paul and other sources, Windhorse and others, by the way, please repair your relationship with Windhorse. I think he's a good guy and I think he likes you. Please repair your relationship with Wendy. My point is, it's been clear this is not going to be a financial decision. You're not trying to milk an organization for every dollar that they can get. You are about winning, LeBron James. You're about getting a championship, or maybe two, who knows, before you get out of here. You're about playing basketball the way that you want to play on a team that can compete, as you very well freaking should, LeBron James. There are 4 teams to me that have realistic chances to get you. It was 3. I think it's now 4. Let's start with the Philadelphia 76ers. You could go to Philly. There's the story of, man, he could break a long championship drought. The Sixers haven't won a title in 43 years. But LeBron, you were at your best, and you've always been at your best. Even in year 23, age 41. We saw it in the playoffs last year. No Luka Doncic. Rather than playing that third fill and deferring to Luka, yeah, look, you would probably acknowledge Luka's better than you, but Austin Reeves is not a better basketball player than you, LeBron James. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. Austin Reeves probably knows that. You were having to defer to them and play completely different style of basketball than what you've played your whole life. You'd have to do that in Philly. Maxey can play off ball, but is on ball. Jaylen Brown is. Joel Embiid definitely is. And so is VJ Edgecombe. So in Philadelphia, yes, you'd obviously make them better, but it won't be that opportunity for you to play, to me, where you're at your best. And where we saw you, particularly most recently with Team USA and in the playoffs last year with the Lakers, where you are essentially playing the Magic Johnson role, controlling the entire offense. You won't be doing that in Philadelphia. It just won't work. They'll be good. You'll be good, but you'll have to slip into a role that you probably didn't enjoy playing that much with the Lakers last season with Luka and Austin Reeves. Miami, you would be able to control the offense. You would be the de facto point guard. Miami, listen, Davion Mitchell, I think, is a really good defender and a nice player. He's not a natural point. Bron is. LeBron James. When you're at your best, when you're controlling the offense and calling the shots, so to speak, what do you want to have around you? Shooters, and nothing but shooters. Yeah, Miami's got like one right now. Tim Hardaway Jr. Like that's it. Andrew Wiggins can shoot the three. Bam. Giannis is not a shooter. And they have no depth. So you'll probably have to play a lot of minutes at age 42, in year 24, and you'll be not gassed, but the legs won't be there come playoff time the way that they would with some other team. And by the way, from a family perspective, that is a long move from Los Angeles. Maybe the family comes with you. They don't. That's your personal decision, obviously. But we know Savannah, the kids didn't necessarily love Miami. You did. They weren't necessarily crazy about it. So there's the family conflict potentially as well. Second, and let's be honest, I know you've thought long and hard about this, LeBron James. Coming home to Cleveland, Ohio to play for the Cavaliers for one last rodeo. And the Cavs right now, you had LeBron James to them. Hey, they were in the Eastern Conference Finals last year. You put LeBron with that group? Yeah, they're better. Yeah, they have a shot to win the East, no question about it. Good coaching, Kenny Atkinson, the analytic comment notwithstanding. But here's the problem, LeBron. You'll be going with better shooters. Cleveland's better shooters than the Lakers did last year. But you'll be going to a situation basically identical to the Lakers last year. 2 on-ball guards, Luka, Austin Reeves last year, Donovan Mitchell, James Harden this year. 2 on-ball guards, not that great playing off-ball. And you'll have to be reduced into a third fiddle. You won't really get to control the offense much because Harden is terrible off the ball and Donovan Mitchell isn't at his best on the ball. You will once again have to defer to 2 ball-dominant guards. I say all that to say this. Why am I recruiting to Golden State, LeBron James? Well, there's many reasons for that. Number one, you're still an all-star. Year 23 last year, you know this, I'm sure. You averaged 27 and 6. Only 4 players in the entire NBA did that, and you did that at age 41 in year 23. No one's ever played 23 years in the NBA. Pretty good. Just on fit alone. Forget relationships. On fit alone, you'll be the point guard. Like, you will be the Warriors' Magic Johnson, and we talk about not having shooters in Miami. You'll have the greatest shooter in the history of human civilization on your offense. Not bad. And by the way, not he's the greatest shooter ever. He's one of the 10 greatest players of all time. You know that. Everybody knows that. And you also won't have to be you won't be relied on to be this anchor defensively like you would in Cleveland, like you would to a degree in Philadelphia, because Draymond Green's there and Kristaps Porzingis is there. And you've got good defenders off the bench. Yaxel Linneborg is big and long and can contribute on that end immediately. So you won't have to be the on-ball primary defender on the best or even the second best perimeter players. So you won't have to expend as much energy on the defensive end and put your best in the offensive end. Not to mention, it's fair to say the Golden State system under Steve Kerr is one that is not terribly kind to young players. Jonathan Kuminga didn't really work. Neither did James Wiseman, Jordan Poole. It is a very high IQ level way of playing offense. It's ball movement, it's player movement, it's all of it. Steph, high IQ. Draymond, high IQ. Jimmy Butler, when he comes back, high IQ. You, Magic Johnson, Chris Paul probably have the 3 highest basketball IQs in the history of the game. So that's a perfect fit. And then also the relationship component onto it. You're tight with Steph. You yourself have said on the shop for years. Hey, LeBron, who's the one guy you want to play with? Steph Curry. You said that for years. Don't blame you. Your games together, match made in basketball heaven. One of your best friends in the whole wide world also plays for the Golden State Warriors. His name is Draymond Green. Clutch client with Rich Paul. That makes all the sense in the world, too. They've got bigs to help you out defensively. You've got a young guy in Yaxel Linneborg who can kind of take under your wing. I'm not saying you got it. You're coming to Golden State to be a mentor, but I think that's something that you would embrace. Helping this kid along and being the player that the Warriors hope that he'll be with the high upside that he has coming out of the University of Michigan. And then from a family perspective, it's what, an hour and a half flight from Los Angeles to San Francisco? If your family wants to come with you, great. If they don't, because they love Los Angeles, who doesn't, by the way? It's quick back and forth. Whereas Miami, all the way on the other side of the country, opposite coast. Philadelphia, same thing. Cleveland, it's still a long flight back and forth. Because this is not a long-term thing. This might be 1 year, it might be 2 years, but probably not beyond that. And then you'll probably retire back to Los Angeles. So, from a location standpoint, it's Golden State. From a fit standpoint, it's Golden State. From a relationship standpoint, it's Golden State. And from a legacy perspective, you've already gotten the crowning achievement of your career at the Cavs. Like, you coming back wouldn't follow through on delivering the promise to delivering a championship for Cleveland. You've already done that. To your credit. Broke my heart as a Warriors fan, but to your credit. Miami, championship organization already. Philadelphia will be breaking a drought, but the role doesn't necessarily work flawlessly. You know that coming to Golden State, whether it's before you get there or once you get there, they're going to have the flexibility to add another impact player with you. And the legacy, the two guys that have defined the last 10 plus years, 12 years of NBA basketball, you and Steph Curry, get to win a championship together. Perfect basketball fit, and you get to win ring number 5 as a tandem. As much as it may have bothered some of the old heads, would have been pretty cool to see Larry Bird and Magic Johnson play together at some point, right? Like that'd have been kind of cool. This is what you have the opportunity to do. Warriors can still offer you the mid-level exception if you want that. If you want to take a pay cut, great. If you don't, Warriors can give you that money too. Close to your family, relationships with the team, an offense that is perfectly suited for you, and a roster that is perfectly suited to your strengths. And an opportunity for the highest legacy upside. That's my pitch. It's your decision, obviously, LeBron. Golden State would be a whole lot better with you than without you. Come to Golden State, my man. You know what to do. That's my pitch. That's my pitch to LeBron James. Whether he'll see that or not, who knows? But that's my pitch. Before we get out of here, I see a bunch of comments from my guy, Grady Edwards, in the comments. What's up, Grady? Any clue why Boston traded Brown for an old sack of potatoes? I mean, it's just... And he says you would have think they could have gotten somebody like Jamal Murray or something if they had just waited. I talked about it earlier in the show, but like, it's not just that the package was embarrassing. It's not just the fact that Giannis was going to sign off on a trade to Boston, but you wouldn't give him an extension. It's the fact that, forget that the deal itself is terrible. You traded him to your biggest rival in the conference that just beat you a year ago when you had Jaylen Brown and they didn't. Like, I haven't seen, the Luka trade was, blew everybody's mind. This doesn't come to the level of that, but it is still just, what's the rationale here? If you just really want to get him out, trade him to someone in the West, man. Surely somebody could give you a player as good as Paul George and 2 first-rounders, surely. It's unbelievable. Grady, talking about LeBron, I think he's going back to Cleveland the longer he waits. Fair, better for them to get him, in my opinion. I also don't care if he goes and joins Steph, but he might care a little bit about how he's viewed for that. I would have cared had he done that in 2018, but the reality is he's a guy chasing one last ring. Yeah, 2018, it would have been obviously a very different story. 2018, he was the best player in the world. Steph was probably the second best player in the world. KD, it would have been the 3 best players on planet Earth on the same team, plus Draymond and Clay would have been in their primes. It would have been just, literally just hand them the Larry O'Brien trophy in advance. It would have been over. But, and also too, if you're like, oh, you're joining the Golden State, you're stacking the deck. Obviously, it would be a different Warriors team, but a different Warriors team that won 37 games a year ago. And even if Steph had been healthy, without Jimmy, they weren't going anywhere. Like, it's not like you're joining the Warriors off 73 wins, like when people killed KD. But it's apples to oranges. And yeah, Grady said it's a lot different. He may care how he's viewed for some for that. He might. Like, if he does, that's his prerogative. But I think as time, the haters will, they'll always crap on LeBron regardless of what he does. But the general basketball public, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm naive. I could be dead wrong. And maybe it's my Warriors bias showing. I think those who just genuinely appreciate basketball and are NBA fans, yeah, there's the Golden State component onto it, but it's like, Steph and Bron playing together, like, this is freaking perfect. It's perfect for this guy to finish his career playing with Steph, who complements his game better than any superstar probably in the history of basketball. I mean, if he can make Dwayne Wade's an all-time legend, but if he can make the fit with Dwayne Wade work, which was a little clunky, if he got the best out of Kyrie Irving, yeah, Steph's at the end of his prime. He averaged 26 a game last year. He's still good. You think he can't get the most out of Steph Curry? So there you go. And he also says if he does go to Golden State, does Bronny go with him? So the Lakers did guarantee the last year of Bronny's contract. Now, would they trade him? Would the Warriors, maybe trade like a couple seconds? Do like maybe a sign and trade for Gary Payton? Like I've said, I love Gary Payton II, but Bronny's a better version of that. He's a better shooter than GP2. Lob threat in the way that GP2 is. He can't guard bigs the way that Gary Payton can, but he'd fit well with Golden State. So like I think Bronny be a nice acquisition to add to the Warriors bench. So if Bronny comes to Golden State, or Bron comes to Golden State, he's like, I want Bronny to play here. I think the Warriors could easily make that trade happen. And I think the Lakers would do it. If nothing else, like, hey, this guy gave us 8 years. Let's let him keep playing with his son. Like, that's why we drafted him. And by the way, Bronny got some valuable minutes in the postseason, had a solid game 3 against Houston. Like, he's gotten better, so kudos to him. With that said, that is all the time we have for today's show. Appreciate everybody stopping by. As always, be sure to catch Carving Up Live. We'll likely be up next Monday, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Will LeBron have made his decision by then? Only time will tell. But the last segment before then, I made my recruiting pitch to LeBron James. Bron, you know where to go. Let's make it happen. Let's come to Golden State. Mike Dunleavy Jr., I have faith in you, my man. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt way more than other Warriors fans are because I think you got something cooking. Close the deal, buddy. There's a lot riding on this. Gotta just get LeBron. Make it happen. I believe in you. Let's do this. Come on. All right. Hope everyone has a great week. Happy 250th birthday to the United States of America. Hope everyone has a great weekend. Stay safe out there. Stay cool out there. Stay hydrated. It's hot as you know what out there. Have a great weekend, everybody. Happy 4th of July. Stay safe out there. God bless y'all. Peace out. Come on, Bron. You know what to do. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.